Yo, 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 welcome back to the fifth and final round. As always, myself, Steven Moustaris. And boy, I just got done breaking down the first four bouts of this UFC 263 card, including the co-main event against Davison Figueiredo and Brendan Moreno. And if you guys want to check those out, please do. Little 5 minute clips. I think it might have been a little longer. Kind of got the talking, but which just leads me in to the main event of the night, the rematch between champion Israel Adesanya, the last stylebender, versus good old Marvin Vettori. And boy, I mean, first thing I will say, I do want to say, I know I'm super excited for this fight, but just the buzz that I'm used to, at least just from what I check and like just my little routine I have with the MMA world, with MMA news, it definitely seems like this fight is a little less exciting for us fans. Just I think it's a mix between Izzy just losing to Jan Blachowicz for the 205 belt and just kind of that like invincible aura is like kind of away from him now, and a mix of maybe just not the like most exciting opponent, at least name wise. So it's tough because I'm almost feeling, honestly, I'm almost feeling more like, at least like our analysts and our favorite newscasters and shit. It seems like they're focusing a lot more on Marvin Vettori just because the first fight was so close. And I don't know. I went back. I've watched that fight now in the last couple months, probably like 3 times. Like I really like doing it when I'm on the treadmill or whatever. I like watching free fights online on YouTube from the UFC fights. It just makes the time fly by. And I remember right before Adesanya fought Jan Blachowicz, I watched it again, and then just because that's what everybody was saying, like, oh, the takedowns. Let's see if that could even happen. And rewatching that fight, it was like really fucking boring, and I wouldn't say like either of them lost or either of them won. Honestly, it was really tough. I know Joe Rogan said this a lot, and not to like copy Joe or nothing, but I really like the idea of there should be more draws in MMA. Like it's not always a clear cut winner in like 29 to 28, or like sometimes it's like 29 to 28, like super fucking thin, and so I don't know. It's we all know that the scoring and the judging and shit should be a little different in MMA, but right now, while none of us have a better explanation for it or a better view for it, it's hard to bitch about. But just from me watching that fight, and especially because I watched it twice with the commentators and one without the commentators, just kind of see how I really felt about it. And they were very pro Adesanya clearly because he was, just coming to the UFC's new face and whatnot, and he's this kickboxing champ. But it's a mix because you can't hold much against Izzy because he's kind of that feeling out process of like, all right, dude, I know I'm a fucking master kickboxer, but like learning how to like defend takedowns and worry about bows, worrying about all this different shit that that's just gonna keep you off of your game a little bit. Just change up your stance just a tad, where you're not throwing the same jab, you're not throwing the same kick from the same stance because you might be a little wider, a little anything, maybe a little So it's just tough. So it was definitely was no point in the entire fight that I thought Adesanya was in trouble. There was no point in the entire fight that I thought Vettori was in trouble. It was just kind of a really boring fight, and I don't want to say boring like that because fighting's super fucking hard, and while you're in it, that shit's really fucking hard. It's definitely not boring, so I don't want to say it like that. But just from what we're used to out of Adesanya, and I think that's why a lot of people think that he lost the fight because it's not the Izzy that we watched originally, like knockout Paulo Costa or fucking Derek Brunson or any time that he's knocked anybody, Robert Whitaker, all these fights. So I see it going back a lot to that. Um, I think we're gonna see a very very hungry Israel Adesanya. It's gonna be super hard to pick against him in this fight, especially after coming off the fight against Jan Blachowicz, which yeah he lost and all, but I think he learned a lot from that fight, and I think not giving up that extra like 20 pounds or whatever to a fighter or to his opponent, I think is gonna help a lot. So I'm not going to be shocked at all if this is a classic Israel Adesanya performance where he kind of comes back in, shows how dominant he is at 185, probably gets a pretty classic finish. I like his left hook where he's like leaning back real fucking crazy, and he seems to always land the left hook. And I could really see it becoming a problem for Vittori. Maybe a lot similar of a not the same fight, but I think it's gonna be a lot similar to the Paulo Costa finish with like it might not look like that hard of a blow or nothing, but it's gonna be enough to do it. And and of course Vittori's gonna come out with the pace. I think he's gonna be pressing a lot, this dude's the way he's been talking. It almost seems like he's built it. It's definitely I wouldn't say false confidence at all because it's not, but he's almost too confident in where just the way he's been talking, which could be a part of the game plan. But it seems like he's dismissing Adesanya a lot, and I think in his own mind that I think from his first fight he didn't feel the power very much. That I think he's gonna just try to walk down Adesanya, and which personally I think might be better because you've watched the last 3 times now that he's fought, or at least that he's won in 185 and for the titles. It's like the guys are just sitting there with Yoel, fucking Paulo Costa, and good old blank as fuck, but blank anyway. But anyway, we all know like the guys that sit there and try to make you come to him and like almost fight exactly the way Adesanya does, it never works out. He's gonna pick you apart. He's gonna tear that leg open, and then when you finally think you want to start going at him, then he's got you already. So it's already over by then. So I think it would be smart for Vettori to push the pace a little bit more, but it's definitely gonna keep you open a lot. So it's a give and take. I'm having a tough time seeing Vettori win this fight, just because he's not the finishing rate's not high on him, and I just don't see Adesanya getting dominated like that. Where, because you could really tell that the Jan fight, it was very interesting because Jan just fought a very good patient fight. Like wasn't fighting for like he was fighting for the feints early, but then by the end of it, it just became so good for him. Like routinely, and he was doing so good, and it was the patience that I think really saved him. So he clearly had the size, and the takedowns in the 4th and 5th were huge. So, but it's not like Adesanya lost that entire fight. I think he lost the 2nd round, and then lost the 4th and the 5th for sure, which were the takedowns were the most deceiving thing. So it's not like, even when you go back and watch that fight, it's not like Adesanya lost bad. Like it was pretty close. Like he still probably could have got the nod in a lot of people's views, but it was just the fact that he got held down the last 2 rounds, and it's even if he won the first 3, it's not like he won them that viciously. So I don't know. I think we see a very, very hungry Adesanya. I could see a 2nd round knockout, if not 3rd, because Vettori does have a chin and does have that grit to him. So I don't know, but if Vittori's gonna win this one, other than a clear lucky knockout, I don't want to say lucky, but like well timed something, which I don't see happening. It would be very tough to watch him win 3 of those 5 rounds against him. I just don't see it, like, because he snuck out the last round against Adesanya just because of some takedowns, and I don't know. If we see Adesanya get taken down again in the late rounds, who knows? Then this might just be something that Adesanya's got to really, really, really fix. But I think him fighting Jan Blachowicz and learning that to go and to become a double champ, I think he learned all the lessons he needed to for Vettori, and especially now he doesn't give up the weight advantage, and he's definitely got the height advantage. I think, yeah, it's going to be a pretty one for Adesanya. I really think it's going to be a nice little highlight finish for him for his career, and we're back to the point now saying who's next. Robert Whittaker should have been fighting him, so I easily could be wrong. I would not be mad at Team Vettori when I'm an Italian. I like watching my Italians or my Greek people do shit, but at the same time, it's tough to go against the style bender. So, hey, this has been the 5th round. As always, myself, Steven Moustaris, and UFC 263 going to be fun. So, hope you guys have a good one.